What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Tomorrow, and today I have a gear review on the Karate Combat official fight gloves. Alright, everybody, as always, I am incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, and you might know I'm going to review these because I posted these on my Instagram page a little bit and on the social media pages, and I was really excited to do this because I've wanted to review these gloves ever since I caught wind of them about 4 years ago, and these are the official Karate Combat gloves. Now, if you don't know what Karate Combat is, it's basically an organization started about 4 or 5 years ago now. I was first introduced to it after a seminar done by Bas Rutten, who's like my big idol ever, and he basically said he was working on this thing that a lot of traditional guys in martial arts like karate would really enjoy at that seminar. And then actually about a week after that, he was on the Joe Rogan Experience talking about Karate Combat and their first upcoming event. And he also showed Joe Rogan these gloves here, although at the time they were just these black gloves that said Karate Combat across the wristband, and they're definitely a little bit different now. But Karate Combat is a really cool promotion because it's not your traditional kickboxing, though it is primarily striking. And it gives some avenue for a lot of guys that are in like traditional karate, you know, and other types of disciplines like taekwondo and other things to come in and like do a professional level sport like that, which is really awesome. And you see a lot of guys from kickboxing and MMA going over and getting on board with it. You know, obviously Bas Rutten, who is the father of Pancrase, really back in the day, and also UFC heavyweight champion. And then you guys got guys like George St. Pierre, who's on board with it, Lyoto Machida, and same thing for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Raymond Daniels is in it now, and then Gabriel Varga, who I am a massive fan of. They both just made their debut. And it's just really cool because you're getting a lot of these traditional guys that don't have too much of an outlet other than like Glory or Muay Thai events to go in and do what they're doing, which is really cool. So Bas Rutten was on the Joe Rogan Experience like 4 years ago, and he said it was free to watch. So of course I'm going to go watch it for free. So that's what I started to do. I went and watched it for free. Karate Combat. If you go to karate.com, you can do this. No, they're not a sponsor. No, I'm not giving them a plug. I just think if you like striking, you would really like watching Karate Combat. It's really entertaining. And I don't know how long they've been selling the gloves, but I've only been aware of them for like a couple months being on the market, and I was really excited about these because Joe Rogan and Bas Rutten were talking really highly about these, the padding and stuff, and how he likes them better than the UFC gloves, which if you watch my last video on breaking down all of the MMA fight gloves, I'd like just about anything over the UFC fight gloves, and these gloves definitely do a good job, and they're a really big step in the right direction, I think, for any professional MMA promotion to actually get their hands on these and give these a shot, because they work really well. I've used them for the last 3 weeks now, which is, you know, a quicker review than I'm used to, but they broke in really well. And when I use an MMA glove, I use it a lot more than I do any other glove in my MMA gym when I train in exclusively MMA gloves. You know, I'll hit the bag and I'll spar with big gloves too, but I use these all the time. So I've had these on for the last 3 weeks. I've had an absolute pleasure using these, and I can't wait to break them down. I was also really excited because when I put these on my story, a few guys like Karate Combat themselves actually said, hey, thanks for the mention, can't wait to hear what you think about them. And then I absolutely nerded out when Gabriel Varga messaged me back and said, hey, really can't wait to hear what you have to say about these, which if Gabriel Varga ever watches this and says great review, I might die because I'm a huge fan of his. He also has a phenomenal YouTube channel, not that he needs my help telling you that. If you ever want awesome kickboxing advice and breakdowns and other things like that, look no further than Gabriel Varga. He has some of the best content on YouTube. If you're an aspiring martial artist, I really think you should go into and look to his stuff. Wealth of knowledge right there. But without further ado, let's get into the Karate Combat gloves. These are the official fight glove that you see. I have the white version in the L/XL size. There are two sizes that they come in. They come in small/medium, then L/XL. So you don't have like 4 different options. So it's a pretty wide range of what these gloves will fit. So that's cool. So if you have smaller hands, you can get the small, medium, and they might have a little bit more room. They might have a little less, which is good for people. And that's the same thing with this as well. You can also get them in black and white. So you get basically the color schemes change. So it would be white lettering on the black glove, and then it would be the white little stripes coming down here, and you'd get that, and then the piping would be different, and that's basically what you get as well. Like I said, these are the white version. They all come in Velcro closure, no lace-up closure, and they're all built exactly the same, which is awesome. Funny story, actually, I have to give you the description that the website gives, and it's basically describing what these gloves are and how they're different, and you'll laugh at this. It says, look, a lot of companies, I'll put it on the screen too, look, a lot of companies want to sell you something based on so-called premium materials, you know, expertly crafted with waterproof silk and stuffed with indestructible llama hair. But every fighter knows that form and function are what matter most. What's llama hair going to do for fighting technique? Nada. So it's actually cool. What they're saying is people will tell you all these fancy things about it and what they're made out of, only for you to be worried. And it goes on, I'll post those in the video too, only to go on and say, you know, people are so worried about using their hands and breaking their hands and damaging them, whereas these gloves are designed specifically to punch stuff and designed for the technique that they were designed to be used for, which is an awesome sell. I like that. They're also cheaper than a lot of gloves out there, especially for being so high quality. They only go for $60, which is, you know, for an MMA sparring glove like this, because that's kind of how I categorize this. It works incredibly well, and it's a lot better durability and quality than a lot of other gloves out there. I usually save that for the end, but I figured I'd get into it now. Talking about the look of the glove, though, we have a completely white striking surface, the entire glove, except for the piping, and the palm is all white, and the palm and the piping is black, though. On the back, you have the Karate Combat logo there, which is the open square, which I really don't know what it is exactly, but it's cool. I think it looks nice. And then we got the Karate Combat there, all in bold, which is cool. And then down the back, you have these stripes and these brackets here that look cool. It gives it like that Tron look to me. I don't really know what it is. It's cool when you watch Karate Combat, actually. And not only do the gloves look kind of futuristic, but they'll do like really cool backdrops, and like it's weird. They have the audience there, and they have this really neat ring, and then they have like green screens all around or something. They put these really futuristic or like outdoorsy different things, and it's really interesting. You got to watch it, and all their stuff is on YouTube too. But the glove looks really, really simple, but yet has those cool little designs. It's like having black trunks with flames at the bottom. For some reason, it just looks cool. You know, you add that little touch to it. Unlike most gloves that I talk about, usually the Velcro is black, like always. In this case, the Velcro is actually white, which is something that doesn't often happen. So we have the white Velcro here, and then at the bottom we have the LXL stamp right there, so you can see what size I have. Now, talking about the design of the glove, we have a completely exterior shell made out of a genuine cowhide leather, which is a very nice, durable leather, and it's got enough leather over the top. It's not stretched too thin at all. It smells just like a good quality new shoe, like most gloves will be, but you got decent leather stretched over here, a good, nice, thick layer of hide. Like I said, it has that nice, genuine smother lel. Nice genuine leather smell, and it's always nice to smell that, because I always give it the sniff test, because you can actually smell how good quality of the leather is. If it smells like chemicals, odds are they tanned it in a weird way, or it just doesn't feel as right. Towards the bottom here, you have some welted seams, which is really nice, along with the wrist strap, which is also made out of which is made out of a nice leather. There was an elastic band here, which I did get rid of because the elastic band just didn't have enough give for me, and I like an open MMA glove, because when I put my hand wraps on, plus this to put my hand in, there just wasn't enough room to get past that elastic band, probably because my palms are bigger and my hand's a little bit bigger than most. So when I put my hand in, the knuckle pad wouldn't get past, and even if I didn't put hand wraps on, it was annoying to get my hand in there, and I like the open feel of that anyway. But the other thing that's nice about this is the padding. It's a multi-layered foam. I would not say it's an IMF Tech foam, although it had that feel initially. It felt like the Combat Sports Max Strike, but it's definitely softer than I'd say than the IMF Tech foam. IMF Tech foam can be really stiff but soft at the same time. This is definitely a more dense foam, but it's soft upon impact. So like it feels kind of not hard out of the box. It's definitely stiff. You know, the leather needs to break in, the padding needs to break in, but you take them right out, and you can see my thumb does squish in, but it reforms really fast, which is nice. So it definitely has that cradling motion when you punch. So they are definitely more of like a firmer pillow style of MMA glove, and they protect your hand really well, and it feels good on the back of the hand. They also have this nice EVA foam. It's how it feels. It feels like an EVA foam rubber patch on the back to stop your hand from, you know, bracing backwards too hard, or braces your hand from going backwards too far to hurt. Actually, if I close the wrist strap here, you can see, let's see, you can see if I strap that this whole top part is separate from the bottom. So it's not top heavy in the regular sense. It's like a door hinge, so you can close your hand naturally when you put it in, and I'll show that in a second. But it opens and closes like this, so the bottom part of it is completely free floating. So when I punch like this, it doesn't compromise my wrist at all, because my wrist is going to be stabilized. And like I said, from here, it'll be on my wrist, and where the impact will be, it'll stop it, because when I punch, I'll be about here, right? So when I punch, it'll line up perfect here in that natural punch position, because that's where it drapes to. And then my wrist will be protected by this wrist strap here and the wrist cuff. And then once again, look, it stops it from bending backwards, and it bends down a little bit like this, but not in the traditional sense. It doesn't fold as one unit. It folds as two separate units. So your knuckles are completely separate from your wrist here, which is nice. So they definitely did a really good job designing that. But once again, I got rid of that wrist strap. I just don't like the elastic strap around that. It just fits in way better, and all I have to do is just pull this tight, and then we're good to go. You know, so I don't think anyone would complain too much about that. It hugs your hand so perfect. It doesn't go anywhere on your wrist at all. It's not going to come off at all. It is stuck right there. It doesn't move whatsoever, and it doesn't move around your hand wraps at all. It sticks right there. Actually, with this glove, what I'll show you is kind of, you can see it, is there's like a little concave curve right on the inside of the glove that fits your knuckles in there, and that also gives it more room to have hand wraps. So when you put your hand on the inside here, you know, usually what commissions will tell you, if you can fit two fingers in like this and have room to move around likewise like this and twist it, that usually means that there's more than enough room on the inside for a basic hand wrap for the glove. So if you do more padding than that, that means that you padded your knuckles too much for the glove. But if I can close my fist like that naturally, most commissions will tell you that's the efficient amount of room you want in the glove for a hand wrap. So that's really, really cool that they did that. I don't know if that was intended, but definitely when you wrap your hands, there's more than enough room here in the back. Also, like I said, it has that natural punch position because, like I said, the top part is completely independent. So when I open and close my hand, it's so easy to do, and you can get such a good grip for like MMA and stuff, because not only do you have that free-floating thumb, but it's because this part is completely separate from the wrist. So there's nothing pulling my hand downward. If you watch my last video of comparing all of the professional fight gloves, some of them were stretched so tight towards the top that when you pull your hand and close your hand, it would pull all the material down like that, and it would make it impossible, like it was forcing your hand to open. It's so separate, it's nice and easy to open, close. All my fingers can move really independently, and they kind of have that Ryzen system going on here, where it's like they're all individual finger slots with a bar going across connecting them at the same time. So they move incredibly well. I think maybe the one thing though I would like to see, and they don't have to, it works just fine, you just got to break it in. Mine are broken in fine. You know, only took I don't know, like maybe a session or two on the bags to really break these in, you know, and then on top of it, they're going to fight in these. So they'll probably take them out, you know, about 2 or 3 hours before they get ready to fight, hit the pads. They'll be broken in more than likely by then, if you tried really hard. But I wish more companies got behind using like a looser material for the fingers so the fingers can move a little bit freer, because it was a little stiff initially, but leather's going to be. But now it moves really easy. Everything closes individually. The only thing is my pinky's kind of messed up, so don't think that it's like constricting it. My pinky's just kind of messed up. But everything moves really independently and individually really well. The one thing I wish any fight glove did, which this isn't a knock on this glove, I just wish there were thumb guards. For some reason, I don't like having the open thumb for whatever reason. That's probably just coming from boxing, because for me, you know, you can teach people to thumb so easy and things like these. The other thing too is that they're naturally curved down, so your fingers have the natural position to want to close. But trust me, like every other fight glove I've reviewed in my last video, you can easily do that and poke someone. So it is more on the athlete's end to not do that. But this glove does promote you to close your hand and strike. Obviously, as it should, it's more of a striking sport. So overall, the functions really well, the durability is really well, everything about the glove is really nice right off the bat. I was really impressed. But let's go hit the bag and get our karate on. I want to apologize ahead of time for the bad video quality that my phone took, but basically these gloves are absolutely awesome to hit the bag with. They are for sure one of my favorite gloves to actually hit the bag with now and hit the pads with. It's nice to actually have a hard-hitting MMA glove that doesn't jar my wrist back or doesn't hurt my knuckles and cradles them perfect. The multi-layered foam has a nice feedback, just like a puncher's glove would. So this is one of the first times I'm going to say an MMA glove has like a puncher's glove feel. You get awesome grips with them. The weight distributes really easy, so when you go to swing your hips to kick and to get your punches off at the same time, it's always a really nice combination to have here. I can hit these as much as I want. I even think boxers would like hitting the pads with these as like a bag mitt, to be honest. They're really nice. So here I try and replicate Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and it doesn't go all that well. All right, so there's the Karate Combat logo that sticks out, and you see a couple more marks there. So the lines actually stick out really well to you, and same thing goes for the nice white texture that you have with the gloves here. They stick out from across the room, and you can definitely tell that whoever has those on like knows what they're doing. It's not something that you'd see a beginner use, although anyone would be welcome to use these super stylish gloves. All right, so my final verdict on the Karate Combat official fight glove is they do an excellent job for something that is inexpensive. Definitely not cheap, because there's a difference between cheap and inexpensive. Cheap means that you got it for a lower price and the quality is terrible, whereas inexpensive means that it does a really good job for a lower price, which is awesome. And for $60 compared to a lot of other gloves out there, these are up there for me. Like I said, the only thing I wish I had with them is, you know, a thumb guard just for protectiveness and training, I guess, to have that added protection to you. But you absolutely don't have to do that. That is more of an optional thing right there. That, and since I'm going pro as a mixed martial artist, those gloves will have an open thumb. And the last couple fight gloves that I fought in have had open thumbs anyway, even at an amateur. So it's good to get used to that way. The padding is really good for both sparring and for bag work, which is the nice part. And that's one thing that Karate Combat really wanted to sell the viewer on their website, is that these gloves are used for everything, and they don't want you to get a new glove like every 3 months, which is awesome. But overall, if I had to give it, like, you know, the durability wise, I've only had them for 3 weeks, you know, and like I said, this is a bit of a quicker review that I usually do. But I felt like, you know, the way that these were and the way that they feel and look, they didn't change at all. I haven't had to treat them whatsoever. I have wiped them down with disinfectant wipes, and they clean very well. Nothing's chipping off as far as paint, or nothing's coming off as far as logos go, and I have used these quite a bit already, both in sparring and hitting the bag. They're definitely one of my favorite MMA style gloves to hit the bag with now, just because of how good the support is. I think their independent hinge system here that they have, you know, having the knuckles be free floating compared to the wrist was a really good idea, especially if you tape your wrist when you're, you know, come fight night. That's definitely something cool as well. The Velcro is incredibly strong. I mean, when I'm grappling with these, if I strap these up tight and hide the Velcro entirely, it doesn't flap up at all. Nothing comes off. I'd have to really pull it back for it to come off. So the Velcro is really good. My one complaint, like I said, is I would just get rid of that elastic strap or make it a hell of a lot looser, but I just don't like that, so I got rid of it, and I probably should have kept it, honestly, to show you in the video, but it just made it really impossible for me to get my hand in there because it just didn't stretch out enough. So honestly, if they got rid of that and found another way, or maybe just stretch it over a little bit more, that would be a different story. But overall, that's really nice. The other thing, too, is like when you get them out of the box, like any leather product, it is going to be a little stiff. And it was definitely stiff in the fingers for a bit. So, you know, get your hand in there when you first get these and like definitely like grip the bar here like this for a bit. Like maneuver it and move it around constantly. You know, that way you get like that to open and loosen up so you can move your hands a bit. But overall, you can grapple in these really well, which is always a good sign, especially for a glove like these. You can throw in Karate Combat. It's not like you can do a blast double or anything like that, but you know, that's the cool thing about these gloves is that they appeal to the martial artist, to a mixed martial artist as well, and I think that's really cool. I think they also took like the independent glove form of like an old school karate glove, if you ever trained in any of those, and like applied it to the MMA world. So overall, durable product, which is also, you know, something that people want to look into. I definitely see these lasting you upwards of 2 or 3 years if you take good care of them. You know, treat the leather every now and again. And it's nice because it's such a good investment for $60. That's, I mean, I'm surprised they're not sold out. You know, it might just because they're not as widely known as like the UFC or, you know, other big things yet. But I definitely think if you want to train in gloves that, for one, look pretty cool. You know, they're not too out of the way to be too stylish, but they definitely, you know, have that little mark down here that gives it their own unique quality to them, which is always nice. And I think Karate Combat did a really good job with this design. If I had to compare them to anything, I'd say the Combat Sports Max Strike is probably the closest thing, but even the Max Strike doesn't really have that much of the free floating like knuckle area. And just the way it contours and it has that divot in for your knuckles so you have enough room in it is awesome. It's not too hard on my hand at all, and it's really nice to spar with. So overall, I'd have to give them a solid, like, I'd say just because, you know, the price point and what you get, for me, they're like a 9 out of 10 just because, you know, like I said, the finger compartment definitely was stiff and sometimes can still be stiff if you leave it in your bag overnight, which can be annoying, which is more of a nitpicky complaint. And then that wrist strap, I would just get rid of. I mean, like I said, I snipped it off, so I can't even bang them a point for that. But I think they'd be good for just about everyone. I think the other thing is, I'd maybe like a slightly larger size for some people. Like I know they do the small / medium, then medium / XL and stuff like that. Maybe I would go with small, medium, large, XL, double XL, because there are guys with big hands. It fits my hand just fine, and I can put hand wraps on. The only thing is when I have the hand wraps on, it's just there's so much material because of that bar as well. You know, it kind of makes it difficult. So I have to wrap my hands extra light in these, which I think was the point to begin with these gloves. But overall, I mean, the knuckle support, the wrist protection is awesome. So you have awesome support. That, and I wish they had a thumb guard, but I'm not going to knock them for anything like that. I think they'll last me a long time. But me personally, I give these gloves a solid 9 out of 10, just because there are some things I feel like you could change to make them a little bit easier to use, but those are once again nitpicky. If I had to give them to like anyone else, if someone's like, hey, what's a good MMA sparring glove, I definitely give these a 10 out of 10 if you ask me to. So that would definitely be a nice training glove. I know I'm going to be using these a lot more. I really like them as a striker. And I think strikers will love these. Grapplers will too, because if you like getting easy grips, it's nice and easy to get through. Underhooks, under the neck, you know, it's not too bulky. It's nice and contoured, so it's easy to get through. So overall, guys, yeah, I really like the Karate Combat Official Fight Glove. I think you will too if you give them a shot. Like I said, $60, that is a steal for these price. For that price, you can't find many other gloves on the market that are that expensive, that have real good quality leather. I would like to see them do a synthetic version of it, just because I think synthetic is going such a better route now, because it's, you know, more people are durable with it. But I think these gloves are going to do fine as far as durability goes. So these are definitely a really good step in the right direction. I think Karate Combat did a really good job job. So if anyone from Karate Combat ever watches this, thank you for producing such a nice glove. I definitely think more people in the professional MMA world should start going towards this route of glove, even for fights too, because it will protect your hands and it will keep your hands safe. And I think a lot more people will like that as well. They also look cool, so that's always good. But overall, guys, once again, I give these a final score of 9 or 10 out of 10. They do a phenomenal job. The price point can't be beat. The durability is awesome so far. The protection is top notch for an MMA glove, and I like the intricate design that they have with them. The folding hinges for the knuckles is awesome. All right, folks, with that said, I'm Al, the Postmaster Morrow. Thanks for tuning in to your source for combat sports, the Combat Corporation. As always, follow me on the Instagram and Facebook pages or any social media pages. I'm trying TikTok out too, so go ahead and give that a follow. The other thing I'll say is like, comment, and subscribe, because it goes a long way to help the channel. And if you want me to review anything else, comment below, let me know, message me on the Instagram pages. That's usually what I answer to, and I'd be happy to talk with you, all right? I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, guys.